Got Your Back Pod Stream is brought to you by Mr. Dirk. From casual wear to suits and formals, Mr. Dirk helps you find the perfect fit with the right look for any occasion. Step up your wardrobe at mrdirk.com.
What's going on, folks? Well, that was far from their best, but sometimes you got to figure out ways to win games when you don't have it early on, and the Oilers definitely did not have it going on early on. But they pick up 2 points, a clutch goal late from Connor McDavid, and Matthias Ekholm with the OT winner. We're getting set to break it all down. Jason Strudwick is standing by. Rob Brown will join us in a bit. And as always, Chris Sabunia working the controls back in Kelowna. Welcome to Got Your Back, folks. We're streaming live tonight. We're on Twitter. We're on Twitch. We're on X. And we're happy to have you with us on YouTube as well. As always, Got Your Back is brought to you by Play Alberta. When you gamble, use your game sense. Play Alberta makes it easy to set deposit limits, time limits, and more so you can play casino games and bet on sports safely, securely, and responsibly. Everything you need to know you can find at their website, playalberta.ca. I am coming at you from our mobile Adrenaline Diesel studio. Adrenaline Diesel is a Caterpillar recognized and authorized dealer and repair facility. For expert service for your CAT engine, visit adrenalinediesel.ca. Happy to be back in my rightful place as host on the show after the debacle that was the other night, Struds. You know, I leave for one show and you guys almost tear the whole thing to the ground, buddy. What was that mess?
Made it our own, right? We made it our own. It was tight. It was organized. It was deliberate and fantastic. It was great. We really patted ourselves on the back, the three of us.
Oh, I know. You sat there patting yourself on the back for half the show. Like, I don't know, Zuby. You were not there either. You know, you had Steve in. So between me not there and you not there, I don't know how I felt about what I saw. What did you think, Zuby?
You know what? It was such a crazy thing that night. Actually, my power went out right at the around the time that the show was going to start. So I was like listening. I was doing stuff with putting the kids to bed or whatever. But we would not have had a show if I was doing it that night, because I had no power for about 2 hours, starting right at 8:20 p.m. Pacific time. So I only picked up bits and pieces of it because I was able to kind of watch on my phone. I saw a lot of the first segment. I thought they were doing a great job. It must have been the back patting must have really happened in the second half of the show.
Yeah,
we were laughing. We said that you and Zuby Shagar were you guys were staring at the show, criticizing everything we did.
Oh yeah,
or didn't do.
Totally.
And we're like, we were fine. We relaxed, man. It was like no problem at all. Just rolling, wheeling and dealing.
Was average at best. I was like, Randine and I were driving in the car. We were listening. And I'm like, you hear the way Browny did that? That was psh, psh. I don't know. It'll be maybe a one and done, I think, Struds.
No, maybe, but he was pretty solid. A lot of people liked it.
I have to say, and of course I'm joking. I have to say, man, like Brownie's a pretty good host, man. I was like, I'm listening to him and I'm like, dude's pretty smooth and like, oh boy, he's like giving his opinion and hosting and like he did a pretty damn good job, Struds. I think I was a little bit insecure listening to him host my show. It's like letting Zuby take my wife out on a date or something. It felt wrong to me.
He did a really good job. He hosts a lot of events, right? He hosts a lot of events for different groups, and he's smooth and calm. He did. I thought he was great. I was really happy with what he did.
Really good comment here on the stream from Pod Goals and saying, I thought last pod was a refreshing chorus of last words from unusual sources.
I'm working on it. It's been brought to my attention and I'm working on it. I do not have to have the last word all the time. I'm working on it.
Well, it's funny because we brought it up on the show and we were talking. You did. What was ironic is that you still got the last word. You weren't even on the show and we were dying.
How?
Because
How
we
did I
were
get? What do you
talking
mean?
about you. We were talking about you about you wanted the last word. I'm like, well, he's still got the last word, and he wasn't even here. We're giving it to him. We
Yeah.
gotta get away from it.
Well, there's a reason that it happens, right? There's a reason that it happens. Some of us know how to
Right.
put a bow on an argument, right?
Here
We
go.
know how to add the cherry on top to like really drive home the most relevant point of the night. And sorry if my
nailed it.
instinct drives me there. I still don't think I do it, but let's move on. All right, enough of this garbage. We got a game to talk about, Struds, and kind of a bit of a weird one. Wasn't a great start for the Oilers. They find it in the end, and it's a great finish, an exciting finish. Kind of a boring game in some ways. But let's get to our breakdown, my friend, brought to you by the Alberta Ram Dealers.
Yes, let's do it. It is bought by, hold on here. Sorry.
Alberta Ram Dealers. You got it? No, it's okay.
I got it. No, my computer crapped out. The Drive It Home holiday event is here. Get up to $13,600 in total discounts on 2024 Ram 1500 DT Laramie Crew Cabs. See your local Ram dealer today. Okay, my computer's back up.
You totally recovered. Nice job with that.
Yeah.
Beautiful look. Beautiful looking trucks.
Not my best.
Great in the snow. No, you're fine, buddy. You're fine. So, Struds, what do you think? What did you see early on in that game, man? Like, was that as bad as it felt like it looked from the press box?
Yeah. It was. So this is, I've been thinking about how I was going to frame this. So you watch the first period, like, okay, you know what? This is maybe the trend we're expecting, right? They didn't have the last two games weren't that defensively great. They weren't able to create a lot, and Boston was obviously on a mission to stop the Oilers from getting any offensive kind of easy looks, and they did a good job. So yeah, in my mind, it just was a low event game, a low event in all ways. And you kind of have a couple goals go in against it. You're like, oh man, this might be a night where the Oilers lose 4-1 with very few chances. So yes, it wasn't pretty, but I'm not going to lie, guys. I love this game. I absolutely love this game for the Oilers. And I won't tell you why right now, but I loved it. I thought this was a huge sign that they are on the right track.
Were you saving it for Struddy's world? Is that the deal? You keeping the powder dry?
No, I don't know. Okay, then I'll say, so this is what I think. I think that we've talked about this since we started the pod, about becoming a mature team and understanding what it's all about. And we saw them do it last year. Right? That, the first period doesn't go great. Okay, you're down 2-0. We've got enough firepower to get this done. Let's not get away from our game. Let's not opening up. Let's not go high risk. Let's just keep working and stay at it. Because it wasn't like Boston was getting a ton of looks either. So stay with it. Keep working. They get the one in the second. Then they keep going, keep grinding. They get the one in the third. Then they win in overtime. And that's a mature team. You don't have to win the game every single shift you get out there, but you can lose it in some shifts by taking the risks. So we've seen this from this team last year. We're seeing it again from this team this year. These are the mature type of games that I have been, specifically preaching about for years. And they have got it, and they've got it again. And it just didn't start tonight. We've seen other times, but I think 2 years ago, even this would have turned into a 4-1 loss. We're talking about how the Oilers aren't mature, how they got away from their game. Right. That didn't happen tonight. I loved it. I love these types of games. I'm sure the fans don't, but I love it because it tells me the type of culture and maturity this group has.
It's interesting you point to that, Struds, because Matthias Ekholm just finished up in the locker room. We were talking with Ekholm, and one of the things he said was they had a good talk after the first period. And what they were kind of saying was, we're probably not going to find 6 tonight, guys. Like, it just didn't feel like it was going to be that kind of night. Boston did a really good job in a lot of ways. And I was down at the morning skates today, and we were talking to Brad Marchand, and he was saying, like, we've been a little up and down with our defensive play lately. We know it, and we know this is not a night where we can have a loose night. So they were really focused on dialing it in. So fast forward, they've done just that. Oilers in the room after 20 minutes, not feeling great about their game, knowing they're not going to get 6, but that they have to win those types of games too, Strud. So that, the team sensed that exact same thing, and they discussed it after the first period.
And you can fall back on that. these are games you reference back, and we've talked about this a couple times this year, and last year there was so many of this like this that they were able to pull out. But you've been through it, you know it, and you can score. There's enough offense in this room that can be spread out. Now tonight, obviously Leon had another great night, and this guy is this is arguably the best regular season we've seen Leon play. I think in the playoffs, they go back, we've seen, another level from him. But I think regular season, this is as good as I've seen him play. And he's, involved in all 3 goals, working like that overtime goal, the way he worked. Oh my God, we got 2-1. I got to keep going. He must've been bagged because he back checked so hard on the way back on past us. So he's everywhere right now. And your big guys come through in a tight game like that. And that's why they're your big guys. It's great to have the non-big guys score for you and contribute. But some nights your big guys are going to come through, and they both did tonight.
Have gone far too long in this show without mentioning 900 points for Leon Draisaitl. Really nice milestone night for him. It comes on an absolutely critical play. So, kind of a nice point that ends up being a milestone for Leon Draisaitl. Struddy, let's get to our Weiss Johnson sound box where we can hear from Draisaitl, brought to you by our good buddies over at Weiss Johnson.
Get your home holiday ready with Weiss Johnson. With any new furnace installed before Christmas, they're offering free duct cleaning. Whether your old furnace has given up or you're just looking to upgrade for a cozier holiday, they've got you covered, and your ducts too. Visit weissjohnson.com for more details. Hit it.
Weiss Johnson, whoa. We're proud to be local.
Leon Draisaitl. I think, Zuby, we got a few clips from Draisaitl postgame here. Just let her run a little bit.
Sure. We'll start with him on his 900th, and then some talk about the defense.
Yeah, it feels good. It's a hard league, and you learn a lot along the way, and every day you truly learn something new, right? So obviously proud of myself, but you can't get to those milestones without teammates and guys trusting you, coaches trusting you. So big thank you goes out to everyone that obviously helped along the way.
Nice. And here he is asked about improved team defense tonight.
Yeah, pretty good. I think couple little things on the awareness side where we can clean up and really tighten it up. But overall, pretty good. And then our goalie was great when we needed him.
Yeah, so we're going to get to Stuart Skinner. We're going to get to the line changes. We're going to get to the D-pairing changes. We got lots of time left, and Brownie is going to join us at a certain point here, Struds. But I think maybe we do need to pause for a minute here and just marvel at Leon Draisaitl. The pace that he's on right now, just the number of multi-point games he's got here, just the way he's rocking and rolling, scoring goals. He's had his two-way game has been in decent shape, pretty good shape here for a little bit. This is a really special player putting together a fantastic year and a nice milestone here.
It just feels like he's all over the ice. He's everywhere.
Yeah.
You want to face off one? Okay, hold on. I got it right over here, guys. A back check or physicality tonight. Zadorov is a huge human being. Although I can't stand how close his visor is to his nose. Why does he wear it like that? Like, God, that annoys me. And I noticed it last year too. And I kept my lips shut, but I can't now. I have to say something. It's go out and buy a large visor. Don't wear the small one that you're stealing off some kid's helmet. But he was being physical. He was he was taking runs at both Zadorov and McAvoy today in the game, scoring goals, setting people up, and I can't say how to say this properly, but he's playing with wingers that he probably didn't expect to be playing with. Let's say July 5th, somewhere in there. He probably thought it'd be Skinner and Albertson or Holloway, some combination of those three. Well, none of those guys are on his line. Although, tonight I know we went back that line, but you know what I'm saying? Like, he is just doing what he needs to do to help the team win, and he's doing it in all different parts of the game.
Yeah, it's been pretty impressive. What I'll say, Struds, is he's been starting on a line that he wouldn't have expected to be playing on, right? So this is multiple games in a row now where he starts with Podkolzin and Kapanen, and the switch is made early. Like, the switch was made basically to start the second period tonight. Chris Knobloch went with the nuclear line, so didn't like what he saw at all in the first period. And I'll be honest with you, I saw some frustration out of Draisaitl in that first period, man. There wasn't a lot happening. His line mates were working hard, but there weren't a lot of plays being made. There was a lot of lost pucks and dump-ins, and you could tell the frustration was there. I was not surprised at all to see the change in the second period. But what do we make of the fact that it's 2 games in a row now that line has not lasted? He's reunited the big guys, and that has had to be the formula here when we know it's not the most ideal formula long term, but it's the way Knobloch has been leaning here.
Well, I think tonight specifically, I think Boston is doing a pretty good job of slowing the Oilers down. And I also think that the Oilers' 3 guys loaded up is better than anything on the other side that they can load up. And that's with all due respect to Marchand and obviously Pasta. And then who is it? Zaka, I think. Is it Zaka in the middle there? I think it's Zaka. The Oilers line is much stronger. So he's like, yep, you want to go power and power? We're happy to do that. So I think that was specific to tonight. I think last game, maybe things are kind of going awry and you're trying to load up and just try to go. Looks like there's going to be a lot of goals tonight. So let's put our 3 big goal scorers together and let them run wild. So obviously long term, it doesn't work. We've seen them. Sorry, it's best to have them split long term, and that maybe long term means playoffs. But when you have that option to put together, throw it together when things aren't going quite right.
You know what I believe, Struds? I believe it's an indication that Chris Knobloch knows the line Draisaitl's on right now. It's not the line that's going to be the long term line. He just knows that, right? So. And the indicator to me is earlier on in the season when things weren't going well in a game, he waited way longer to make that switch. You would see that switch halfway through the second period or towards the end of the second period, if not even until the third period. It was way more of a break glass in case of emergency thing because he had another line going that he wanted to give time. I think he believed in what his lines looked like in front of him and didn't want to get away from him, wanted to give him a chance. I don't think he believes that 29, 92, 42 long-term is going to be a line. I think he's breaking the glass faster, and I think it'll just be a matter of time here before Arvidsson ends up back in the top 6 when he gets his feet underneath them, and then you'll see him maybe giving them longer looks and not switching so fast. But it tells me he doesn't believe necessarily that's the line long term, or he'd be giving it more time and not getting away from it so fast.
Well, then that's not great news for guys like Skinner or Brown or these types of guys, because if he's switching that, because he doesn't even want to switch the lineup and give other guys a chance. I think that kind of tells you.
Oh, that's exactly what's happening.
How he feels.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he doesn't. Other guys are not getting those chances, Struds, and that's been going on for a long time now.
It has, but it's, you're just like, okay, well, at some point, do you not go back to Skinner or, probably not Brown, or even Henrique, but then probably you don't have a third line center. You don't really have a fourth line center right now. So, this has to be sorted out, obviously, and they have to figure out. And Arvidsson coming back tonight was good. I thought he looked like a guy who hadn't played in quite a while, especially the physicality. I think that kind of caught him off guard. He was kind of taking a few hits
took a couple
early.
hard falls. Yeah, he took some hard falls tonight.
Yeah, and it's hard to duplicate that in practice. I've been through that. It's hard to feel that physicality in practice, and coach will go up and, hey, you got to battle with whomever. Go battle with Josh Brown in the corner for a while, but it's not the same as as getting to regular games. So that's an interesting point you make, and I can't say you're wrong. But it just to me says that there's Arvidsson's got to come back and fill that spot, and then does Skinner get another chance? That's if you're not giving a chance.
If he was going to get another chance, if he was going to get another chance, he'd have gotten it by now. He's going to have to score his way into another chance. He's going to have to put up so much offense that they have no choice but to put him there. That's the only way. It's not going to
Yeah.
be through injury. It's not going to be through amazing
Yeah.
defensive play. He's literally going to have to score like 4 goals in 6 games and for something else to go wrong to end up with the look there. It feels to me like that's how steep the hill is for this guy to climb.
Yeah, and that's a challenge because you're not getting those fresh looks. You're not getting the ice time, right? So, yeah, I guess we'll see. Let's see when Arvidsson, probably will he be back at 100% before Christmas? I unlikely. It takes a couple games. What do you sit out? A dozen or 15 games? There's a lot of games.
15 games, yeah.
Yeah, 15. Geez, that's a long time. So then, he'll have practice tomorrow, game, and then game. So he has really 2 games and a practice. That's all he has before Christmas. So maybe he feels normal post-Christmas, I'm guessing, or hoping, I guess, more than anything.
Well, and Knobloch today, after the morning skate, talked about how they were going to ease him in, which is not surprising. He's missed a lot of time. So they were going to ease him in, but I think they have full designs and intentions on him landing back on that line. I think that Kapanen will have an interesting opportunity to dig in somewhere in and around that third line, although Janmark, Brown, and Henrique were reunited late in the game and looked good. So, we'll see if the coach wants to give that a try longer term as well. It's a nice line to go to late in the game that's got experience together and can be trusted. There were some interesting changes tonight, Struds, and maybe we'll save those for the next segment because there were some changes on the blue line that we don't always see. Some adjustments throughout the lineup. Maybe we can save that chatter for a little bit later on. We have a few more clips that we haven't gotten to yet, though, so let's get back to our Weiss Johnson soundbox. And I believe we have Ryan Nugent-Hopkins giving a little love to Stuart Skinner, Zuby, because Skinner really, for that first goal, the way it went in, and not that it was his fault, but anytime the first shot goes in, that's got to suck. And Skinner, I thought, did a good job solidifying and made some real good saves through the middle of that game that kept his team alive and gave him a chance to be within striking distance. Here's Nugent-Hopkins.
Well, like you said, confident as that. Even after that first one goes in, I'm obviously not a goal. I can't speak for it, but I'm sure the first one goes in. I can rattle you a little bit, but he did a great job sticking with it and made some huge saves when he needed to. And at the end of the day, that's what we needed to continue to push and get that second one.
Just solid, Struds, when he needed to be. And I think about the save on Pasternak is a great example.
It is. And you know what? People, the first goal, so it goes off Leon's stick, right? And goes up over his shoulder, a little hole there. But, I just kind of do the math. For every 10 shots, you should save 9. So today, what did they have? 26 shots, I think. Yeah, 26. So you let in 2 shots. So you're above that threshold. So you gave your team a chance to win. Right? The Oilers scored 3. You just 2 is enough. Now, if Boston scores 3, then maybe that's not enough. But that's how I always go for it. And I'm not so worried about how they go win all the time. But, just like, okay, I did my job. I stopped more than 90% of the shots that came at me. You guys do the rest. And I think that's a fair way of looking at it. He got his job done tonight.
Yeah, and I would argue that Swayman did too. Like Swayman made some nice saves in that game. But listen, that one goal he let in, I mean, if Skinner lets that goal in, my goodness, like our YouTube stream is lit up. But I think it's a good reminder. Like, look at Bobrovsky's night the other night, right? Look at some of the goals he let in. Look at Swayman. Like, these are good goalies. This stuff happens to really good goalies too. And Skinner battled and out-battled the guy at the other end and picks up the win on a pretty solid night from him. We had a Matthias Ekholm clip as well, Struds. I can't remember exactly which one that one was.
Yeah, Ekholm. What was it, Zuby? It was on
Well, it's specific to the changing D pair, so I don't know if you guys want to talk about that now.
Well, let's hang on to that then. Yeah, let's hang on to that for until our next segment. And we'll get to that. Zuby, we got a timeline on Brownie?
Someone said on the stream that his show's wrapped up, but I don't have any messages from him yet. Or do I? Yes, I do. Never mind. I do have him. He's in his car.
He's waiting?
That just came in. Yeah.
He's waiting for your phone call? Well, listen, I'm just getting home. So why don't you have Brownie hop in? Strud, you can take care of Relentless player in the YouTube poll. And then I'll hop back in for takeaways in a couple of minutes.
Boys. We got her. All right, I'll start firing up this Relentless player here, guys and girls, while waiting for him. Relentless Player is brought to you by UCAN Youth Services, an Edmonton charity relentless in helping young people rise above life's challenges. From mental health struggles to finding a steady job, they offer the support you need to build brighter futures. Connecting them to employment opportunities, equipping them with essential life and work skills, and providing free on-site counseling to ensure their success. Visit ucan.ca. Donate today. All right. Well, lots of options today for a Relentless Player. Obvious one would be Zach Hyman coming back, and his nose looked way better today, even though the eyes looked worse, but he looked a lot less swollen. But no, I'm not going with him. Another guy, Leon Draisaitl in overtime. Well, the whole game, but in overtime where he back check hard and Pasternak bagged, gets the puck, puck goes up, and now he sees an opportunity for 2-on-1. He jumps up and attacks, gets a shot on net. But no, I'm not going with him either. I'm going with someone very less obvious here for the Relentless Player. Not Hyman, not Draisaitl. I'm going with Connor McDavid for one specific play. And we got Rob Brown here, and I'll tell you what it is, Brownie. The second goal, Connor sees he has a bit of maybe a little daylight, and he just puts his head down and drives that net. Goes 5-hole. Now he maybe got in there a little bit lucky, but it's hard to say that when it's Connor McDavid. But I just loved how he just, to use the word, relentlessly drives the net and just says, we're not going to take a perimeter shot. I'm not trying to pass a wide. I'm going to drive to the net and create chaos. So 97, Relentless Player of the night tonight. Brownie, good to talk to you.
Yeah, you're right, Struds, and it was a good play. And it's funny, in the first period, and we had, I think it was Connor Brown at the end of the period on our show, talking that they were too perimeter, too fancy in the game, where they watched the Boston Bruins the whole first period. They were direct and simple. And I think as the Oilers, the game moved on, became much more direct and simple with the way they played. And on that one with McDavid, he didn't turn up looking for a trailer. He knew he had Hyman with him, didn't try to make the pass across. He drove around to Zadorov. Now Zadorov that was a bad change by the Bruins. They were tired. They went off, and Zadorov got stuck out there. He's got McDavid full speed, but give McDavid credit. And then when he drove the net, he just was stuffing it. And you could see he didn't know where the puck was. He actually was starting to whack at the pad like, this is going in somehow. Yeah. And so good on him. A simple play. And that's what the great players don't always make great plays, these beautiful plays. Sometimes they just make the simple plays, but they know when to do it. And I think that was Connor McDavid. It was his time. Like, okay, get on my back. This one's on me. And you could see the excitement. Connor doesn't always get excited when he scores. Yeah. He was excited after that goal. He understood how important a goal that was.
Yeah, to get over the top. Okay, let's get to our YouTube poll, brought to you by DeBoer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center. Holiday deals have arrived at DeBoer's with savings you don't want to miss. 50% off all in-stock clothing and footwear. Stocking stuffers galore, including the Titleist Pro V1 and Strixon Z-Star golf balls, all on sale. Or for the golfer who has it all, give the gift of choice with a gift card. Locally owned and operated, proudly serving golfers for 25 years. Experience unmatched service, premium products, and incredible holiday savings. Zuby, what's the poll all about today, you old dog?
All right, well, it's about Leon Draisaitl and milestones, and I took the time to look a little bit ahead for him and see what could be coming up next, and there's been some chatter about this as well. But the way I phrased the question is, what do you hope? Asking Oiler fan, what do you hope is the next big milestone for Leon this season? He needs 30 goals to get to 400 goals. So 400 goals, 30 away. Some people saying maybe he can get to 1,000 points this year. He got to 900 tonight, so 100 more. Not out of the realm of possibility. Pretty lofty. 1,000 points. Or lots of people pushing for Leon to get a Selke Trophy chatter, right? Or so I put the actual win on there for him. Selke Trophy for defense, the best defensive forward. Lots of people pushing for that. So those are the three choices. What do you want to see him get to this season? 400 goals, 1,000 points, or win a Selke Trophy?
Brownie, what do you got, buddy?
Well, he's not getting to 1,000 points this year. It'll be early next year, and it's kind of neat that in back-to-back seasons we're going to see two superstars hit 1,000 points. So he's not going to get that. I'd love to see him get Selke votes, I just don't think. I think they look at him more as an offensive player. But to me, the 30 goals, that to get to 400, to me that's the big one, because if he does that, that's another 50-goal season, and I'd love to see him add to his stat pages with another. I think that would be his fourth 50-goal season. So to me, I think that's the most realistic, and that's probably the one that I'm hoping he finds, so that he has another 50-goal year.
We know what it is, Brownie. That's the one he can control. Right now he can control his 1,000 points, but he's no one can fire off that many points in such a short time. The Selke, he has no control over the votes. So I'm with you. I think that threshold of 400 goals is doable, and I think he will get there. He's everywhere all over the ice, and he's playing so well and affecting so many different parts of the game. Like the physicality tonight, going after Zadorov and McAvoy. That's, you've talked about it before. Those guys, they are physical players, and when they want to be, when they recognize it's time for it, they bring it. And I think tonight the big man was feeling it.
Oh, I think you're 100% right. Now, I love McAvoy as a hockey player. He is a real hockey player. He's a skilled guy that is not afraid to get physical. He's kind of a younger version, for me, of a Drew Doughty. And he is everything for that team, especially without Hampus Lindholm. Without him in the lineup, that's so much more on the plate of McAvoy. But you're right. Leon recognized that. He went after Zadorov, sent him flying. Leon, it'll be in my brownie points, but Leon Draisaitl has been the Oilers' best player for me in the last 6 weeks. Like, the Oilers always have Connor McDavid, but there's some nights the best player in the world wears number 29. He has been unbelievable all season long in both ends of the rink. And I just think we're seeing a side of Leon that we're seeing playoff Leon in the regular season, which is kind of fun.
All yours, Shoggy.
All right. Brownie, how you doing, pal?
I'm a little chilly. It's a little cold getting into my car. My heat hasn't kicked in yet, but other than that, I'm feeling pretty good. The Oilers are playing well. It's Christmas time. How can you not be in a good mood right now if you live in Edmonton?
Yeah, well, I like, too, that you've recovered after what happened on the show the other day. Like, you're not letting it get you down. You've brought good energy today. I know it was a rough go for you guys, but I like the energy you're bringing tonight, buddy.
I'm actually surprised that you guys aired it. I thought that with the way it went, that might be one of those ones that we just burn the tape and throw it away.
No, you guys did a great job. You did a great job. It made me feel like maybe you don't need me after all, but I'm dealing with that. All right, so we wrapped everything up here. Let's take a break, and coming back in takeaways, really want to talk about the changes that were made on the blue line, some of the line adjustments that were made. Brownie, want to get your take on the nuclear option and how fast he seems to be going with it the last couple of games. Struds and I were beating that around a little bit. So lots still ahead coming up in takeaways, and we'll have Brownie Points and Struddy's World. We have a fantastic live stream going on YouTube and over on X. So make sure you send in your comments to Zuby for Ask Us Anything. That'll come up a little bit later on in the show. Plenty more still ahead here on Got Your Back, presented by Play Alberta. Right back.
At Gallery Dental, we believe in blending exceptional care with artistry to create the perfect smile for you. From routine cleanings to advanced cosmetic procedures, our team is dedicated to providing top-notch care in a relaxed and comfortable environment. With state-of-the-art technology and a passion for perfection, we ensure that every visit is a positive experience. Join the Gallery Dental family and let us help you achieve a smile that you'll love to show off. Contact us today at secolandentistry.com.
So at Timberhouse, our guiding philosophy is naturally inspired living. We believe that through design, we can solve problems and enhance people's lives. We follow biophilic design principles in all of our builds to incorporate natural materials, natural light, to enhance all the spaces in a home. When you have your space perfectly reflect who you are and what you value, and it's made well, we think that that just leads to better living.
Welcome back to the show. Time now for our takeaways, brought to you by Martin Motorsports. Riding season is here. Ride in style this year
with a new snowmobile from Martin Motorsports. Right now, they have 0% financing or cash rebates available on select Ski-Doo and Lynx sleds. Look at these things. How much fun does that look like? Start your winter adventures with Martin Motorsports. Visit them in-store or online to view their in-stock inventory and find the perfect machine for you. Struddy, I know you were thinking about going with the blower as well. So I picked up the Stihl blower from Horizon Ag and Turf, the sister store to Martin Motorsports. Did you end up going by?
Yeah, there's some discussion around the house, right, about it. Okay. Where there's some chatter. I believe Santa's involved, so some chatter, chit chatter, get her at her. So we'll see. I think see what Santa brings, right?
Oh, a little Christmas gift. Really? You like a blower for Christmas for you? That's what you would get? Is that what you asked for? Isn't that like giving your wife a blender or something like that? Like, isn't that kind of taboo?
Well, I think it's a pretty nice gift. You can go out there and just blow everything. I want to be able to blow my neighbor's hairpiece off his head from across the street. Like, I just want to have at it. He's got a big rug.
Anyway. So we've seen some adjustments, Brownie. Quickly, well, it doesn't have to be that quick, but I do want your take, Brownie, on how fast he's going to McDavid, Draisaitl, and Hyman. It's a couple of games in a row here. Basically, after the first period, he made the switch. Went pretty quick last game as well, made the switch. Faster than he had for much of the season. What do you make of that, Brownie, how quick he's swapping things out?
Well, I think you're not getting enough out of your second-line wingers. That you don't think you have enough offense if you don't put Connor and Leon together. The problem, I mean, it was successful tonight. They were 2.5 minutes away from it not be, but it was successful tonight. And most nights when you put those two together, you're going to have some degree of success. The problem is all your offense will come from those guys then. You're putting all your offense in one line. Tonight, all 3 goals, that line. You don't really create a whole lot with your other lines. Now, some teams you get away with that, but you play against a good team that has a really strong defensive line that just tries to survive against Connor and Leon together, and then they have another line that can go out there and score. Then you're going to find yourself in a little bit of trouble. I think in a perfect world, and we talked about it, we've seen this before. When they get to the playoffs, if they have those two together the whole time, sometimes they find themselves in trouble. But to me, they're just not getting offensive production outside of those two right now when they're together.
Yeah. So, Struds, take us through what you're noticing on the blue line because, there hasn't been a lot of time under Chris Knobloch that Bouchard and Ekholm have not been out there together. But we're seeing some of this, man. It starts with them as a penalty-killing duo, and now we're starting to see some 5-on-5 minutes leak through with 49 and 14.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. So, the first period wasn't great. It was a low event, and I guess that's what Buffalo or Boston wanted. They were up, and so they came out with a fresh pairings, right? Nurse and Stetcher are the same, and then you had, as you said, 14 and 49, and then Bouchard slipped over with a new partner as well. So you're kind of with Kulak, and you're kind of watching like, hey, what's going on here? And so is it short term? If it's short term just to change it up, okay, that's one thing. But what would be the longer term goal here if that is indeed the one they go with? And as I was watching the game, I kept thinking to myself, they're trying to spread it out a bit more, right? Maybe they're trying to spread some of that strength out. Ekholm is very, very easy a partner to play with, and he's always there to pick people up. We've seen that for years in Nashville, and obviously here now with the Oilers, when we had the Bouchard. But then Bouchard and Kulak, one of the things, neither one are really fast. Kulak's very mobile. So you put him beside Bouchard, maybe he can help now in a different way, a different phase of Bouchard's kind of development or growth as a player, be with a guy that really is a little bit more mobile and moves around a little quicker. Because when he was out there, he was really moving well, or always does move well. And then you have Ekholm and Emerson that are maybe more of a minute munching partnership. And then obviously Nurse is playing the way he is, so you don't have to change him. But that's kind of what I was thinking, more long-term than just focusing short-term, Brownie.
Well, I think part of it is Bouchard is still struggling. I thought he struggled again tonight in the hockey game. Very fortunate. He got beat twice, once by Marchand, once on one-on-one. Very fortunate on both of those that the puck bobbled. He was caught on a 2-on-1. He gave the puck away. Ekholm is not as fleet of foot, and I think he's been having to cover up so much that it's affected his game as well. Kulak, it's funny with Kulak, he was supposed to anchor your third pairing, moved up into your second pairing. Now he was tonight in the first pairing, and it hasn't looked out of place in any of those. I mean, what a luxury that has right now is Kulak, who, okay, we're gotta get a second pairing guy. Kulak's going to be in your third, but now Kulak's played so well that you can put him anywhere at any time and feel comfortable. I just think they wanted more his speed and his ability to jump up in the play when they were playing Connor and Leon together starting in the second period. I just think they liked what he's done. So in this last little while, they're like, all right, we got to get some offense going. We're going to give us our best chance. Kulak, right now, the way he's moving, he'll jump up in the play and create. I think that's what they're trying to do. I think here's our best 5 offensive players right now. Let's get them going to see if we can turn this ship around.
Bobo Fett says top pair had wobbles tonight. I like Knobloch made the in-game move to shake up the pairs. A few in-game adjustments from Chris Knobloch tonight. I want to put this in proper perspective. It's not like he separated them for the entire game. At even strength, Matthias Ekholm played 12 minutes and 13 seconds with Evan Bouchard, far more than any other defenseman. He had almost 5 minutes with Ty Emberson. And then what we saw was I'll just click on to, where's Evan Bouchard? Now I can't find him. There he is. I'll click on to Evan Bouchard here. So Bouchard was, 12-13 with Ekholm. Brett Kulak, he was 8-34 at even strength as well. So it was a little bit all over the place at some times. But what was notable to me, Struds, was at the end of the game. It was in the last 2 minutes, it was basically, Nurse and Stetcher. Like Nurse was not engaged at all in the last couple of minutes of that game. Kulak was. Emberson was in the last couple of minutes as well. That was as notable to me as anything, that Emberson was getting looks late in the game ahead of Nurse.
Yeah, and it's not Kulak. That's not the one that surprised me, but the Nurse one does, because Nurse has proven he can score in the league, and he's got a good shot, and he's very mobile, so he covers a lot of space quickly. And not that Emberson either, but I think that Nurse is quicker, and he gets around the ice, and he covers just bigger. So yeah, I was surprised by that. But by the way they played that out. But at the end of the day, I guess you win, so you move on. If you don't win, maybe you kind of look at it and say, well, why didn't we do that, or why wasn't I out there? But I'll be interested to see how they start next game. So the Sharks are coming into town, and Sharks are, I think they're moving in the right direction. They're working hard. It's a game the Oilers should win. Do you give these new pairings some legs and give you have 2 games before the Christmas break just to see what it looks like? Can it change the look of things up, and maybe maybe kind of get Bouchard kind of doing something different with a partner.
What do you think, Brownie?
I think they go back to where they were. I think Ekholm and Bouchard will be back together, and they'll just go back to normal. To me, it was a spark. Let's get a spark going out there. I don't see Kulak being in your first pairing as we move forward in the season. I think that's Ekholm's spot. Do you feel comfortable, Struds, having Kulak and Bouchard as your first pairing defenseman going through the final 40, 50 games of the season into the playoffs? I don't. I love everything Kulak does, and I think he's had a fantastic year. But that's your first pairing. I don't know if you're as strong as you were last year going into the playoffs.
Yeah, and I hear you. I don't know if that is the first pairing, though. I guess they're the ones playing with McDavid, so I guess they would be by, maybe not by default. But Kulak is very mobile, and I think that he can. I wonder if they're not looking for someone, just a more mobile pairing, by putting Kulak beside Bouchard. Maybe they think that'll help Bouchard out.
Yeah. It was also interesting that, is Darnell Nurse not normally the overtime guy? If not right after Bouchard, Bouchard goes and then Nurse normally comes out next, doesn't he? Did Ekholm not go in overtime when normally it would have been Nurse?
Jogger, like, do we know that if there was something bothering Nurse?
No, like I'm just looking at his shift chart right now. So I was maybe a little bit wrong. So with 2:20 left in the game, he took a 38-second shift. So I said the last 2 minutes he wasn't out there, but he was out there kind of in that 2.5-minute range. But a short 38-second shift, but then did not play in overtime. And no, he played pretty regularly through the third period. Doesn't look like he missed anything at all. So no, it was just, and this was just an adjustment. And then there's another great, sorry, Zuby, I missed who sent the comment in on the stream there, but somebody said, would that be Knobloch making that change, or would that be Paul Coffey Struds deciding to make those adjustments on the fly?
I think they've had to talk about it with the head coach. Yeah, I don't think you have to ask for his blessing for everything, but I think you have to run it by. Say, hey man, this is what I'm thinking about him doing. I'm splitting these guys up, and it's probably been talked about. I don't think tonight would have been the first time they talked about it, right? They probably talked about in the past. This is what it looked like. We do it. So they're always think how much time they spend at the rink. They got to talk about something. So I'd be floored if after the first period they just decided that let's just do this, right? So I think it's been talked about before, and I do believe that Coffey would have consulted the big guy before doing it. What do you think, Brownie?
No, I agree 100%. They've talked before as how much they talk to each other. They love banging things off each other. Knobloch in his availability afterwards said he didn't like some things last game and then again to start this game. So that's one of the reasons he split them up. So you would have known they would have been talking about it. It's for getting who they put out in overtime. I don't think if Coffey felt Ekholm should go out ahead of Nurse, I don't think he would have to bounce that off the coach. I think during the play, something like that, Paul Coffey can say, I got a feeling I'm going to get Ekholm. I mean, you're putting Ekholm on the ice ahead of Nurse. That's not something. It's not like you decided I'm going to put Stetcher out instead of Nurse or Ekholm. Like he's an elite defenseman. And the one thing that I've noticed, usually when Knobloch makes a decision on personnel, usually seems to work out well for him. Yeah. So I think he's got a pretty good pulse, a finger on the pulse of what his team needs and when it needs it.
Back to the Weiss Johnson soundbox. Here's Matthias Ekholm talking about some different looks on the blue line.
No, it's one of those things. We needed a spark at some point, right? So I think for the whole decor and for the whole team, it was nice to just see a different partner and maybe get out of your comfort zone a little bit. I mean, as you said, I don't know how many shifts I've had 5-on-5 without him. So good for us too to kind of just again get out of our comfort zones a little bit, see what that is like. Maybe get a little spark, and again, I give a lot of credit and see what happened in the game, right? Like we actually got back and tied it. So I'm not saying that was just because of that, but you rarely go 82 games with the same partner. We've been pretty steady together, but again, I think that as of late there's been more for us that we want to achieve than we have been. So I mean, it's what it is, and tonight it turned out being a good thing. What do you?
Nice bit of physicality from the Oilers tonight. 25 on the hit total. Notable was Podkolzin and Darnell Nurse with 4 each. Zach Hyman, despite that cage, had 3. The Boston Bruins came back with 30, led by Nikita Zadorov, had 6 on the night. Sorry, Brownie, we didn't get a chance to talk to you about Leon Draisaitl hitting that 900 points. Struds and I hit on that in the first in the first segment a little bit there, buddy. Just maybe give us a thought on the pace that he's on, the way he's been playing lately here, and just the quality of this game they're getting.
Well, I said before you got on with us when you were
okay,
going
I missed it. Sorry.
He's been he's been the Oilers' best player the last 6 weeks. I mean, both ends of the rink. And when the team needed a little physicality tonight, tossed around McAvoy, tossed around Zadorov. He's been all world. I mean, I grew up in the 80s and got to see the Oilers with Gretzky and Messi and Curry and all these fantastic players. And now I'm here working for the Oilers, and I get to see Connor and Leon on a nightly basis. The Oilers have the best player in the world in Connor McDavid. But some nights, the best player in the world is Leon Draisaitl. And we've seen that through the last 6 weeks. I remember when Connor got his 1,000th point, the first thing I did was went into the stats pages to see, okay, when is Leon getting his? And I figure, okay, sometime next season. And it's pretty amazing is we're going to watch in back-to-back NHL seasons, two guys on the team that we cheer for or cover having their 1,000th point. It shows you how special both Connor and Leon are and how fortunate we are to get to see them on a nightly basis.
Yeah. Well said, my friend. That was Takeaways brought to you by our good friends over at Martin Motorsports. Brownie, are you home yet, buddy? You want to run into the house?
I will run in and be on TV in about 1 minute.
Okay, buddy. Sounds good. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we've got Struddy's World, we got Browny Points, and lots more pods still ahead. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
Specializing in heavy-duty commercial truck powertrain repair, performance, tuning, and part sales, Adrenaline Diesel's professional team is ready to assist you with all of your needs, from the simplest oil changes to engine conversions, overhauls, and engine modifications. Featuring an all-new online parts store and machine shop to manufacture, replicate, or repair parts, visit adrenalinediesel.ca.
Ready to go all in this season? Mr. Dirk's got you covered with express on-site tailoring, a wide selection of craftsman-made suits, sport coats, and casual staples for every occasion. Score big with Mr. Dirk. We've always got your back. Visit us off White Ave, south of 102nd Street, or browse online at mrdirk.com.
When you make a mistake, heads should roll. It's not right. And I'm here. Someone has to put their foot down. Now that I say it out loud, it does sound a little crazy. God, I look good.
All right, time now for Struddy's World, brought to you by Timberhouse Developments. When you become part of the Timberhouse family, you might be surprised just how close you get to the people and the process. You want to check in on things on your build? No problem. Stop by the job site. Want to chat with the crew at head office? Stop by anytime. They've got fantastic coffee. You are the most important person in the home building process, and you will be treated as such. They never forget that over at Timberhouse. Visit timberhouse.ca. Waiting on Rob Brown to return. Struddy, what do you got for us, buddy?
Oh, huge snowfall yesterday, and I love it. I love winter. I love seeing the snow come down, but I'm always interested to see how people shovel their driveways, and obviously the sidewalks is what I really want to focus on here. And this is something I see all across Edmonton, and I've seen other communities as well. We shovel to within a millimeter of our property line. We don't go over. It's like we're not allowed to shovel. It's like there's a country there, there's a border, we can't go over it. And I see it all the time where people go right up to that one crack that's right in our property line. Why can't we shovel over it? What if we go a foot over, 2 feet, 5 feet over? What would be so bad if we went a little bit over? How much time does that take? It took long for me to say this, 2 seconds than it did to actually shovel that space. I don't get it, Chugger. I don't know why that is the way we think. I think the opposite. Let's all go 3 to 5 feet over in both directions. Because then I do that for you the next time you do it for me. And now there's a bit of camaraderie. We might actually do, I don't understand how that happens. And I see it everywhere. I can't stop looking. Everywhere I see snow, I have to look, guys. Yeah. And I see it. I can't unsee it now.
Brownie, I feel like none of Struddy's neighbors like him is the issue.
I don't have a sidewalk. I don't have a sidewalk in front of my house. So this has nothing to do with me.
Let me get this, because I jumped in a little late. You're mad because your neighbors only shovel their part of the... No,
it's
that's
not my neighbors. I don't have a sidewalk, so this has nothing to do with my neighbors. It is, but in fact, they're amazing. They actually shovel a lot. It's just you know what I'm talking about. It's just
I don't, because my neighborhood is the exact opposite. My neighborhood. We shovel yesterday when it came out, my next door neighbor had already shoveled my driveway and was doing my sidewalks. A little later, I came out, did his. And my neighbor, he actually goes in the morning, he gets up at like 6:30 and shovels 9 houses worth of sidewalks.
9?
Before anyone gets up. 9. He goes all the way from one end, all the way around the corner, and then sometimes you'll see him on the other side. Kevin's his name. Unbelievable guy. So
Can we read
our
you the
neighbor's
Relentless player?
He's got a snowblower.
He's good. No, he does. He has one, but normally he does it just with a shovel.
What?
He's a little older than me. He's retired. He's got the time and loves. He's in really good shape. He's in way better shape than any of us. But yeah.
Wow. That's impressive.
It was hard at times though, because
Go ahead, Brownie.
it was hard at times because sometimes Holly's like, oh God, he's shoveling our front yard. I'm like, oh, I was just gonna sit down and I guess I gotta go help him shovel my driveway. But he is unbelievable. He's unbelievable. But yeah, so we and our neighbor is way different because we all do each other's stuff anytime we can.
So Ronnie Oceanfront says, I love pouring a coffee in Bailey's and going to town with the shovel and doing as many walks on my street as I can. I guess
good for him.
Do you pour that into a Camelback? Like, how do you drink a coffee in Bailey's while you're shoveling?
So he puts it on top of his head on a helmet.
Yeah.
He could have one of those one-handed shovels, maybe. He's just doing a light push over the top, maybe.
Just a light little push. So, Struds, where do you come in on cutting grass? Like, I have a shared front yard with my neighbor, right? So it's
good question.
It's about 50-50, but there's no barrier in between. So where do you come out on if you feel that everyone should be more helpful from a shoveling standpoint? You want someone else shoveling your or cutting your grass now?
Fair point. Yeah. I share it with my neighbor as well. His name is Jacques. And so I talked to Jacques and said, listen, it takes me 5 extra minutes for me to cut the whole front. Then it looks like a park. Rather when you see it and you have I just cut mine and the other side is 4 inches higher. It doesn't look good. Just go over there and cut it. And so I think it looks better that way. So I do it. And I love cutting grass. I truly do love it. Walking around, Bud Light in my hand, a dart hanging out of my mouth. I get right into it. So that's how I do it. And I think it looks way better.
Robin Mungle Fitness, who I have not seen on the stream before, so welcome, Robin Mungle Fitness, says, I have an 82-year-old client that does both of his neighbors' driveways when it snows. He is a Relentless player. So well done to Robin Mungle Fitness's 82-year-old neighbor. Okay, Strud, so this isn't your neighbors. This isn't your neighborhood. No. You don't think it has anything to do with you. You're just driving around in your truck being judgmental, basically is what's happening.
That's not basically. That's exactly what I'm doing. I just think that as human, you help other people out. I think that's what happens. That's the way it should be. Chip in.
That's out. What we're paying you for. Struddy. He's looking at you folks out his truck window, passing judgment, and then bringing it to Struddy's world and getting paid by Timber Hoss to do it. Brought to you by Timber Hoss Developments. Okay, let's crank up the positivity, Zuby. Roll that music. It is time for Browny Points, brought to you by Hamel's Premium Jerky. It makes an excellent gift or stocking stuffer, and just in time for the holidays, the stocking stuffer package is here. 4 half-pound packs of jerky, $55. And as always, free shipping Alberta-wide. Choose from their 14 flavors and support a great local business. Hop onto albertajerky.com to order yours and enter code GOTYOURBACK for an additional 10% off. Okay, Brownie, within reason, spread around some brownie points, my friend.
Well, I'm going to start with a big one. I got 248 brownie points for Justin Schultz. Announced his retirement the other day. He played 248 of his 745 games with the Oilers. He retired with 2 Stanley Cups. He was a really good defenseman. They came in here and they just put too much pressure on him on a bad hockey club. And eventually he had to go elsewhere to find the success they thought he'd have here. But good on Justin Schultz. He had a pretty darn good career, and he leaves with 2 Stanley Cup rings. I've got six brownie points for Luke Schenn. Now, you guys probably saw this. The other day, Luke Schenn had 6 shots on net in 3 seconds. It was all over the Twitterverse. They showed all 6 of his shots. I think it doubled his season total in 3 seconds. Big Luke Schenn in front of the net. It was quite funny. I've got minus 83 brownie points to the New York Jets of the NFL, their owner, Woody Johnson. He is a gamer. He loves playing video games. He was playing Madden football on his video game, his Xbox. His team was about to trade for a guy named Jerry Jeudy from the Denver Broncos. Woody Johnson didn't think his rating was high enough in the Madden football game. He called the GM and axed the trade. He did not make a trade. That's like the Oilers are about to trade for Mitch Marner, and Daryl K says, no, I was playing video games last night. Mitch Marner's only an 83, so we cannot trade from this guy. Eventually got traded to the Cleveland Browns, and he's having a career year. So you wonder why the New York Jets are as bad as they are. I got 900 brownie points for Leon Draisaitl. He's been the Oilers' best player for 6 weeks. 3 assists tonight got him to 900 in his career. Sometime next season, we're going to see him get his 1,000th. We are lucky. We got the 2 best players, in my opinion, in the world playing for the Edmonton Oilers right now. Good for Leon Draisaitl. And my last one, I just changed something around, but I'm giving 100 brownie points to my next door neighbor, Kevin. He shoveled my driveway twice yesterday. He did the entire block's sidewalk about 3-4 times. So, Kevin, if you're watching right now, 100 brownie points, which buys you a couple bottles of beer in my basement anytime you want to stop over. And those are my brownie points.
Brought to you by Hamel's Premium Jerky. Is that in really good shape, Kevin? Is that what you're talking about? Super good shape, Kevin? Like six-pack, Kevin?
He'd be in his mid-60s, I'm guessing. And, I mean, seriously, he probably shoveled. Well, there's some days he'll shovel 6 or 7 driveways around the neighborhood. He'll just walk around and start shoveling guys' driveways because he's a really nice person. Best neighbor ever, by far. I mean, I haven't lived beside Struds. If I lived beside Struds, then Kevin would still be the best neighbor ever.
Yeah. Strud, Strud just be sitting in the front window watching you cut your grass, sipping coffee, just shaking his head, watching you cut your grass, not approving.
Judging, yeah. I could see that.
Got to get the job done. Be a good human. Help out your fellow neighbors.
Gomez says, Schauger fist pumped in the car after getting 20 brownie points last pod. Did I get 20 brownie points last pod?
Yeah, you did. I can't remember what I gave him. Oh, yeah. I called you a good father. I said, you're up for Father of the Year.
That's
driving to Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. No, I'm a happy dad, guys. My boy's moving back to town. My son, Noah, who is at CTV in Saskatoon, he's a news reporter. Got a job. He's coming to work for the evil empire over at Global. I kid. Ooh. That's the competition, but got a new job at Global. So he'll be moving back in the 24th. I'm going to pick him up, and we'll drive back together for good. I just went and picked up all his stuff and moved it all back. So it's good Christmas for me. The boy's coming home.
Wait, Struddy, you're not at this point, but when your kids move away, you miss them so badly. So my son's coming in on Monday for Christmas, 12 days. I tell you, Schauger, it is nice having them when they're at home, and you miss 100%. Those moments. So good for you.
Struddies, that's all. That's off in the distance for you, Struds. You got a ways to go. All right. Brownie, you mind hanging around for a couple more minutes for Ask Us Anything?
Yep. Absolutely.
Perfect. People love it when Rob Brown sticks in for the extra segment, Overtime with Brownie. Ask Us Anything brought to you by BJ Electric Supplies, an Edmonton-based independent electric wholesaler offering a wide range of products from lighting and lighting controls and accessories, wiring and hazardous products, you name it, they probably have it. Serving electrical contractors working in Alberta's oil and gas, commercial, residential, and OEM sectors. Check them out at bjelectric.ca. As we say good evening again to Zuby. Let's direct him at Struds and Brownie, and I'll take a little break and watch the festivities, buddy.
Sure. A couple people kind of chiming in on this topic. Ben Goliath says, with Hyman and McDavid back to being a productive duo, I don't know why they don't bump Nuge down to play with Leon when they need to shake things up. And there's been talk of, again, about Nuge's the chat you guys had earlier about Nuge's wingers, and maybe their spots not being solidified. What do you think of the idea, Struddy, of Nuge going down to play on Leon's wing?
Yeah, that's a well thought out answer, right? Because you kind of create a duo. So the question is, who plays on those other wings? I guess Arvidsson when he's up and running with the big guy, Leon, and then does Paul Colton go up there? Is it Skinner? Does Skinner get a look after being so patient? Like, there's got to be somebody. Is it back to? I really don't know who. Is it Henrique? They can't. They have enough centers.
No,
so
it won't.
Someone's got to go up there.
Yeah, I agree with you, Struds. I do like the thought of Nuge going and playing with Leon. I do, because they obviously, the last few games, they haven't liked what's been happening in their top six, and they've had to put Connor and Leon back together. And it creates a super line, but the other lines really don't get anything going offensively. So I think that if you're not happy with what you're getting, why not give Nuge and Leon a look together? Eventually, if everything works out, that'll be Evander Kane's spot.
Yeah.
But that's still a long ways in the future before that could happen, and many more different injuries could happen till then. But I do like that thought from that.
Who's the short term?
texter.
Who's the guy?
They're just going to. I don't think they're going to do anything. They're just going to stay the same. I think it'll be Kapanen and Leon and Podkolzin. I don't know if Arvidsson is. Are they going to move him up right away? I think Kapanen's done. He's played well. And remember, we were talking last game about what happens when everyone gets healthy. Again, Derek Ryan's the guy out. His face-offs are fantastic, but they don't seem to. They like Kapanen better than Derek Ryan right now.
By the way, guys, I did ask Knobloch this morning about when everyone's healthy, does he envision them going back to 12 forwards, or what are they going to do? And he said no. He thinks they'll stay here, or wants to stay here at this 13 forward. So now they're only at 6 defensemen, but for right now, Kapanen has played his way to staying with everybody healthy.
I don't think he's the one that you have to worry about. I don't think Kapanen's going anywhere. They like Kapanen a lot.
Couple questions about Jeff Skinner. You guys touched on him there. Brendan Bozema says, why does Knobloch seem to not like Jeff Skinner? What about his game does he not like? And I'm going to throw another one at you also on Skinner, and you can kind of take either one and run with it. Garrett Woolsey says, if Skinner gets healthy scratch for a game or two, do you think it will wake him up? So Brownie, you can go either way with this. Do you think him being scratched would have an effect? And what do you think it is that the coach doesn't care for in his game that sees him in this position?
I just don't think they trust him defensively. In all honesty, I think there were some hiccups early in the season, and that didn't allow him to play in the top six. I think this is just what Skinner is as a player. I think he's a guy that creates his own chances and did in Buffalo and scored goals. Derelict sometime defensively. He's how old? He's 30 years old, 30 plus years old. I don't think getting benched is good. He's not going to change who he is. This is the kind of player he is. I thought tonight he actually created some good scoring chances for the Oilers, but I just don't think. And Chris Knobloch talks a lot about Janmark, Struddy, a lot about how much he loves Janmark. Janmark is simple. Jeff Skinner is anything but simple. So I don't think benching Skinner will make a difference. I just don't think they have the trust in They've got guys they know that are going to score goals. They want guys in their bottom six who they trust to do the right thing defensively. And Struds, I just don't know if that's ever going to happen for Jeff Skinner.
Yeah, Janmark is predictable, and that doesn't mean that's unskilled. It just means he does the right thing, and he plays more north-south. And I've been saying it for a while. Skinner is more east-west, hang on to the puck and kind of slows down the attack. I think they want to get up the ice as quick as they can. So I stand by my comments from the other day. I just believe that it's not a fit. If I can't get Rob Brown to say, put Skinner up beside McDavid and Hyman just to try it out for 2 games before Christmas, I don't know when it'll happen because they're only going to get more and more people back. Yep. So if I'm Jeff Skinner, I'm looking around the room like, where do I fit in here? What do I do? And doesn't mean he's a bad player. It means that it hasn't fit on this team because he's more than what he's showing. He can score. Mm-hmm. This guy can score goals. He scored a lot of goals on a bad team, and maybe it's easier scoring a bad team, but he's on, what is he on? What's he got? 6 goals, guys? He's on pace for like 15 goals, something like that. Like, come on.
And just an addendum to that conversation starting over at 61 says in order for Jeff Skinner to get a deal next year, he's going to have to waive his no-move clause and let a trade happen. At a certain point, you got to start thinking about yourself and next season. Zuby, 1 or 2 more, bud?
Okay, I got this one that I really want to hear, and I'm glad to have Brownie still here for this one. Paulie says, ask us anything. In light of the Rangers' struggles lately in the players-only meetings, what's your take on players-only meetings? What is usually said and the goal of having no management or coaching involved? And how does it always get out, too? It's never like it still seems like it's announced. What's the purpose? What's said? And is it really effective, or is it just a thing that media likes to talk about? Struddy.
No.
Sorry, Brownie. Go.
Struddy.
Nope, Brownie, you
go,
go.
Brownie. Go, Brownie.
Yeah, it is effective. You air your dirty laundry in a private, safe area. Nobody wants to say certain things in front of a coach or an assistant coach, or no one wants to say it in front of a general manager. You want to be amongst your teammates. And here's what I think. Here's what we need to do. And most of them are quite honest. I've been in a few, and I mean, feelings are hurt, but you're getting your point across. And in New York, they obviously need that. To me, New York was Chris Drury's the one that created most of these problems, but the players have looked like they've quit on that team. But yeah, I think it's important. The reason it gets out is media is not dumb. They know when the doors are closed and they know where the coaches are. They're like, okay, this is a players only meeting, and most media have some friends on the team that'll say, yeah, and they'll talk to them. They'll say off the record, yeah, here's what we did. But I do believe they're effective, and they're needed at sometimes. You can't always have the coaches being the ones coming in, being the bad guys. Sometimes the players have to hold each other accountable, Struds. And I've been involved in some, and usually you become a better team after it, or you just completely collapse and it's unfixable.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, so after a game, if the media can't get in right away, they know there's a meeting, right? And then you say, "Well, what kind of meeting was it?" So it's not, it's not that hard to sort out. But as far as I've been in some really good closed door meetings, and others that didn't accomplish anything. It's like any meeting you've ever been to. Some are good, some are bad. What I liked is that sometimes the captain would call out players who didn't know that they weren't doing whatever. Because it's unbelievable. I'm sure everyone works with someone who, like, the boss is generally trying to tell them, hey, we got to do this better, interact with our clients better or whatever. But they're like, he's not talking to me. No, actually, Rob Brown, we are talking to you. I'm talking exactly to you. And so that's where I always, because some guys, they think they're working hard and they're not working hard, whether it's at practice, before practice, coming early, staying late, and then that just gets you to the games to give you a chance to be a hard worker in the game. So I used to like when guys called out and the captain would say, hey, this is what we think. But then there are some meetings where we're just like, I literally hate the saying, good teams don't lose 3 games in a row. I've heard that so many times. And I'm like, well, what are we going to do to change that? No, guys, we got to 2 things I hate. 1, we don't lose 3 games in a row. And 2, we got to work harder. Okay, that's good. Show me where am I not working harder? Is it on the forecheck? Is it here? Am I not heavy on my stick? Like, it's so generic. It doesn't make sense. I don't like either one of those things.
That's hilarious. Tonight on the post-game show at 880 Chad, I said the same thing. The dumbest line ever is good teams don't lose 3 games in a row. I said, for a perfect example, Stanley Cup champions last year lost 3 games in a row in the Stanley Cup finals. Every team loses 3 games in a row. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
No.
That's kind of funny you're saying that. I'm like, did Struds actually listen to my show? Or are we just sharing a brain today?
But you got to talk about how we're going to change it. Just say, this is how we're going to grow. This is how we're going to change. Like, just work harder. Work harder. We don't lose 3 games in a row. Okay, great. Let's write those down.
All right. That was Ask Us Anything, brought to you by BJ Electric Supplies. Anything last to squeeze in, Zuby? We want to wrap the poll, or what do you want to do there, buddy?
Yeah, we can, whatever you want. It's your show, pal. You're back. You're at the helm. I'm your humble servant. We can do the poll now.
Why don't we wrap up the poll so Brownie can hear the results, and then we'll let Brownie go. So why don't you, our YouTube poll brought to you by DeBoer's. Oh, you booted.
I left.
I booted Brownie back to.
There you go. Now I'm the picture.
Here we go. Now we're 100%.
You got us, buddy.
Brownie,
this is the stuff that happens after I leave. That's really cool.
Yeah. Somebody wanted to know, Brownie, if that picture of you is at Cultus Lake.
Nope, that's at Moy Lake, just south of Cranbrook, BC. We've been there for about 16 years.
Okay. Nice. So to wrap up the DeBoer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center poll, the question as I phrased it was, what do you hope is the next milestone for Leon this season? And 400 goals, that's the one people want to see. Only 30 goals to go. 400 goals, 58% of the vote. Selke Trophy getting 26% of the vote, 1,000 points, only 15% of the vote, over 300 votes. And maybe people also feeling like 1,000 this year is still a little bit too lofty. But yeah, people want to see that 400 goals. So, and there were some write-in votes for a Stanley Cup. I figured that would pretty much be 100% of the vote if that, I did consider that, but some write-in votes for that as well. I think that's on the goals list no matter what.
Good stuff. All right. Brownie, thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. We will chat. We'll figure out our schedule here, but likely to have a podcast after the game. It's an afternoon game on Saturday against the San Jose Sharks up next for the Oilers. So we'll talk to you soon, my friend.
Sounds good. See you guys.
With over 18 years in the industry, Kelly Zaretsky and her team at Blue Summit Accounting deliver client-focused solutions and financial guidance for success in a simple and comfortable way. Whether it's for corporate or personal needs, Blue Summit Accounting can help with taxes, estate planning, financial services, bookkeeping, and more. Get in touch today. Email bluesummitacct@gmail.com or call 780-416-9662.
Sure. All right, welcome back to the show. Time now for Core Blue Liners, brought to you by HSE Core Services. If you are a small to medium-sized business, HSE Core has your back when it comes to health and safety compliance. From creating and managing a tailored health and safety program that meets all legislation and core requirements, HSE Core supports clients' operations every step of the way. Check them out online, www.hsecor.com. That's hsecor.com. Struds, before we get going on this one, Zuby, there was some curiosity about what I was snacking on tonight. So we can go... I'm sneaking in a little snack there during Ask Us Anything. I'll give you 4 options to put into the poll, and we'll see if the people can figure it out.
Okay.
You can write these down and then drop them into the poll. Option A, licorice all sorts. Option B, Ritz crackers. Option C, Aussie Bites. And option D, rice crackers.
Got it.
One of those 4 things. Struds, and most of those I assume would be a Struddy approved. Although, no, you're not a licorice guy, right, Struds?
Black licorice I like, but I didn't. What's an Aussie Bite? I've never even heard of it.
You don't buy the
Costco.
Aussie Bites from Costco? They're those nice sort of hearty, I wouldn't call them healthy snacks, but they're like a snack muffin type thing from Costco.
Yeah. No, I'm not familiar. They sound delicious from down under.
Oh, no, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Big black licorice guy too, buddy. This is something we have in common. Are you a licorice all sorts guy?
I don't know what that is either. What's that?
Like with the candy on it. So like the white, it's got the white on both sides and the black in the middle, and then the round ones with the black in the middle and the.
I don't like that. Just plain, just straight up, like Paul Abdul, straight up.
Just the nibs.
Yeah, I don't mind nibs, but I like the long, the ones with like a drums. Yeah, Twizzlers,
okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk a little bit of Charlie McAvoy, my friend.
So I'm trying to really do these D-man is just kind of identify someone's superpower. Like if I was talking Zadorov, he's just big and he takes up a lot of space and physical. When I think of Charlie McAvoy and we watched him tonight, you can see it. He's competitive. I think that is the highlight for me when I watch him play. There are other players that are skilled in the league, probably even more skilled than Charlie, but he's such a competitive guy. Then you put that beside the skating ability and the skill. You've got a really good defenseman there for the Boston Bruins and has been for quite a while. So, he can make plays. He's got a good one-timer. He runs their power play. But he does all those things. But the reason I don't say he's a super skilled guy, like I might talk about Adam Fox, is because his point totals have never really been in that upper echelon of what's going on. His highest totals are like 55, 56, somewhere in there. But so he can run the power play, but he's not running it all by himself. Like he needs some help out there to make it happen. But I mean, when you talk competitive nature, he is amongst, to me, leader in that level of competitiveness for D-man across the league.
Yeah. So points wise, I think you make a fair point about him. Like 12 goals he had last season in 23-24. He got the 12 goals and 47 points. His high watermark points wise has been 56. Time on ice, though, like Struds, he's been, I mean, from the time he got into the league, he was 22 minutes average time on ice his first year. And he's at 23:47 now. He's been as high as 24:51. Like, the guy is an absolute minute muncher. He's got Norris votes in 5 seasons. He's picked up Norris votes and been in that conversation. So, yeah, this is a real good, real valuable defenseman, and he's been around a long time. He's a gamer. Like, he really did become a part of the fabric of that Boston leadership core, too.
Yeah, he sure has. And I believe he was mentored by Chara in his first few years.
Yeah.
He played, I think they're partners. So that's also a very competitive guy. When I think of, of competitive people, he's up there amongst the top ones. Zdeno is.
And a guy that just absolutely does it the right way. All right, that was our core blue liner. Our focus on Charlie McAvoy, brought to you by HSE Core Services. By the way, Tom accused you, your tennis, the guy that dominates you on the tennis court, runs HSE Core Services. He said you ducked him. He said you flat out didn't show up for your match today. So we need some clarification here. Oh, look, we got the text message. Hey, Jason, I hobbled in on one leg today, ready to take you on in tennis like the true warrior I am, and you didn't even have the courtesy to show up. Pff, I see how it is. And then that's me saying, wow, this will be making the show tonight. So do you care to explain yourself, Struds?
Yeah, I mean, this will be a bit of a downer, but I actually got rear-ended today in my car. So that kind of changed the trajectory of my day. So yeah, no, I mean, emotionally spent, right? It's a very emotional. No, just kidding. Everything's fine. The other person who hit me, she was fine, which is great. That's really what was my biggest concern. But now I got to get through the hassle of getting this thing fixed up and organized, the police check. So nice little early Christmas gift.
Oh man. So, well, not to make you feel bad, Tom, but Struddy wasn't there because he was in an accident. So you just never know what might be happening in a person's life. Don't just assume the worst, right?
Tough one for the old
tough one. That's a tough beat there. Okay, you know what? We need to do a scoreboard tonight as well. So we got Take a Lap coming up, but we're also going to do our scoreboard, brought to you by Canadian Club. In honor of the founding year of the Canadian Club Distillery, 1858, the all-new CC Classic 18-year-old high proof comes in at 58%. For all you whiskey connoisseurs out there, their highest proof Canadian Club Classic to date. Full-bodied whiskey with aromas of caramel, toffee, spicy vanilla, and rich oak with that butterscotch finish. Struds, what else was going on around the league tonight?
Yeah, as far as the scoreboard, there was some pretty big games involving Oilers teams right around them. We'll start with the Kings. They took down the Flyers 7-3. Both Kopitar and Fiala had 2 goals each in that one. So that was a pretty good, convincing win by the Kings, who the Oilers are competing with, obviously, for right now second place in the Pacific Division. The Sens take down the Flames in OT. Tkachuk scores an OT, and nice little 2-on-1 and kind of an ugly one, but it gets it in there and it has a great reaction. So we'll see the Sens in here on Sunday night when they take on the Oilers. And then lastly, Vegas Van 3-1 for that one. And in this game, Pietrangelo scored a bomb from the blue line. No one in front of the netminder, I think it was Lankinen, just bombs it in from, I guess it'd be the right point, and puts it to the left side of the net, and Lankinen can't get to it. So you rarely see a goalie being beat from the blue line when there's no one in front of them. And we saw it tonight, Pietrangelo.
All right, that was your scoreboard, brought to you by Canadian Club. Quick look at the standings, too. The Oilers, 40 points, couple back of the LA Kings, 5 back of the Vegas Golden Knights. They've all played 32 games. The Vancouver Canucks, couple points back of the Oilers. And then the Colorado Avalanche, 6-4-0 in their last 10. Coming on, in some ways, also a couple of points back of the Oilers. And the Flames are hanging around too. So nice tight Western Conference standings here and wild card race in the Pacific.
Okay, Struds, lots going on around the league, so we want to isolate a couple of stories, dig in, get your thoughts on it. That'll be taking a lap, brought to you by Ekholm. 150 years in the construction industry, one of Canada's original leaders in heavy industrial contracting, very proudly operating here in Edmonton as well. And they're looking for workers. So if you are looking for a great company to work for, or if someone you know needs a job, go to their website, ekholm.com, and click Join Our Team. Struds?
Well, we keep an eye on the Vancouver Canucks pretty closely because they're a good up-and-coming team, and they've got some interesting storylines going around that. And Bruce Boudreau was a former coach of that team. He coached both Pettersson and Miller when they were there together, and he was on Overdrive yesterday. And Bruce Boudreau had some interesting comments, and I'll kind of paraphrase it for him. But basically, he said that when he arrived there, he felt there was maybe a little bit of an issue between Miller and Pettersson. He felt that a lot of times it felt like when it first started, Miller was the center, then Pettersson was on the wing, or Besser on the wing, whatever, and he got to play with pretty good players. But then as time has evolved, Pettersson has kind of moved to more a secondary role, and Miller gets more of those higher end wingers. And then Pettersson's not with those higher end wingers. So maybe there's some frustration there about, who they get to play with. And then, I've seen other reports that are suggesting there is actually friction between these two players that are both signed to basically lifetime contracts with that club, right? They're both signed for long time. So it just doesn't go away. And when I was a player, you hear things, you hear some of the media read things, and sometimes like, well, I don't really know what they're talking about. Like, I don't see that in our room. But there are some things when you hear it out there, like, oh yeah, this is happening in this room, and there are problems. And when it keeps coming up and up and up, it's coming from somewhere. So I don't know where this goes, because Boudreau talked about the coach has to get on top of it. But you have two players locked into lifetime contracts with the Canucks, probably both very confident gentlemen. How do you solve this issue? It kind of reminds me of Shaq and Kobe when they both played for the Lakers.
Yeah, it's, and then you hear the trade rumors swirling around the Vancouver Canucks, right? Buffalo, Vancouver, you hear all these things, potentially someone being moved. Miller spent some time away from the club. One of the other things, too, there's a real discrepancy in Pettersson's stats this year when Miller's in the lineup and when he's not in the lineup. He's got significantly better stats when Miller's not in the lineup, right? Pettersson stepped up and played pretty well in Miller's absence. So for whatever reason, it's just kind of not really clicking. And so, could you imagine if Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid, if there was friction and issues, and this is right at the top, absolute top end of your lineup where things are not clicking. What do you do? At a certain point, one of them's probably going to have to go if they can't get this sorted out.
And as a teammate, you do choose, right? There's a person you like better, and you choose a side, and that divides a room as well. And not that, Group A hates Group B or Group B hates Group A, but it just, you're not functioning as a group. It doesn't have to be all harmonious and everything has to be perfect within a room. But if you have kind of two groups or people, kind of choosing one or the other, it just doesn't function. The league's too close, too much parity to have that. And I think Canucks are probably a better team than they're showing right now as far as points wise. They have some pretty good top six players in there.
All right, what's next, buddy?
JJ Moser, youngish D-man, out 8 to 10 weeks, lower body injury. I have no idea. I'm guessing it's a knee, right? But he's out, so that makes a pretty big challenge for Tampa Bay. We saw him in here the other day. So he's out, and that's going to make it tough. That's not quite 2.5 to 3 months.
Yep. And the Tampa Bay Lightning clinging on to third spot in the Atlantic anyways for right now. So they've, dealt with some injury stuff, and certainly one there that is going to bang them up here for a little bit. That was Taking a Lap, brought to you by our good friends over at Ekholm. Okay, Struds, we should get ready to wrap up with our play of the day. That is brought to you by Gallery Dental. Take the first step towards a stress-free dental experience at Gallery Dental, where they provide modern dentistry for today's patient with the most up-to-date sedation, implants, and so much more. Contact GalleryDentalYEG.com. Struds, what do we got today, buddy?
Evander Kane is a pretty big supporter of the local community. He invites people, or 200 kids he has, and it's his third year doing it, where they can come and they can shop with him. This is sponsored by some local businesses, and they call it the Evander Kane Christmas Shopping. So there you go. So Evander's got them out there and had a great time, and I love it. Anyone who a hockey player who puts his time into working with kids, whether it's at the children's hospitals or local charities or something like this, I think it's fantastic. So good on him. And really, really cool initiative by him and some local groups.
Yeah, very cool. And this video coming to us from our friends over at Oilers Plus. Since Evander Kane got here, people behind the scenes will tell you he's been one of the most consistently active Oilers in terms of being in the community and doing events and getting himself out there. So kudos to him and the team and the businesses that support that as well. Very cool this time of year at Christmas. Before we rip tonight, Struds, want to remind everybody, if you're looking for that late Christmas gift for the Swiftie in your family, we do have a solution for you. If you weren't able to make it to one of the big concerts, well, 2024 can still be a Swiftmas to remember for the Swifties on your list. Give them tickets to the Story of Taylor Swift. It's on February 28th at Edmonton's Jubilee Auditorium, a storytelling concert featuring Charity Eden from Dallas. I've heard her. Sounds really good. Great performer. The Story of Taylor Swift, February 28th at the Jube. Tickets can be found at ticketmaster.ca. And go check it out. I have a feeling Randine and I will probably end up there. I got some friends who have reached out. They were super interested in tickets too. Hey, it's a chance to go sing the songs, have a good time, whatever. I probably won't be the most vocal one there, but I got some young ladies in the family that I think would probably have a blast. So, Struddy, I know you got a family full of Swifties as well.
I love the Swifties. I think it'd be a really fun night. You got to get my daughter over there.
Yeah, sounds good. All right, buddy. Thank you very much. Great job tonight, as always. And I guess we'll check in after the San Jose game.
Yeah, look, an afternoon game. Love those afternoon games on the weekends. Come on, NHL, do more. So nice.
Yeah, love it. Zuby, good job tonight, buddy. Thank you, my friend.
Thanks, pal. Fun show. Glad to be out of my Boosh phase here, my Boosh era.
Yeah, you've bounced back nicely. You had a better bounce back than probably he did. And thanks to all of you on the live stream. We had a great audience tonight. Really strong numbers on the live stream. We really appreciate it. Great contributions as well. So thank you very much. Struds, Zuby, Brownie, Steve, and I really appreciate you being along for the ride, for your downloads and your subscriptions, and to all of our amazing sponsors as well, including Play Alberta. We'll chat after Saturday's game. Have a great Friday.